Hey everyone, this is John Rollins with our weekly S.T.R.I.V.E sessions. I say weekly, but I know that I missed last week. And I'll go into it a little bit about what happened on last week. This is the S.T.R.I.V.E session. Strategies to remain informed, strategies to remain victorious, strategies to remain empowered. And these sessions are intended to bring some relief, bring some encouragement, to uplift and to inspire the members of the body of Christ. Those of us who are believers, those of us who say that we've been called by God, that we are children of the Most High. It's intended to uplift you, to give you a reason to want to go on. And I can imagine that I, like so many other people, have been I would say, bombarded with the events that are taking place in society. And I do not intend to offer thoughts on what is taking place. There are so many people who are much more knowledgeable than I, who've shared their thoughts, who've shared their opinions, who've shared their feelings. But I can understand everyone being a bit uncomfortable, maybe even some people who are tense. And so with the assignment that's been given to me, how can I bring some encouragement to those who are in the body of Christ? And you all know that for some time we've been talking about pursuing wisdom, and I want to focus on that even on today with our session. Some years ago, I was inspired to give this thought. And so as I go a little bit further, I'm going to read it to you from a collection that I have, but a little background on it. And we're talking about wisdom. How can we live our lives on a path that provides us with fulfillment, that gives us an assurance that we're doing things that are going to bring us the type of returns that I think most of us long for. I believe if you to do a survey, I know Family Feud says, and we asked 100 and they'll whatever types of people. I believe if you were to ask 100 people, those who are in your circle, even complete strangers, say, if you had to choose the kind of life that you lived, would you want to be a life that's enjoyable, or would you want to have every day being a burden or pain or negative, and you have to fight your way to try to come out and keep your head above water? I would imagine that most people would say that I'm going with the option A, John. I prefer to have a life that's full and pleasing and an enriched life, a life that I can look back on, and then when it's all over, to know that I've given my very best. I can close my eyes in peace. And it's from that angle that I want to share some stuff with you on today. I believe that, and I make an assumption here because I'm going to talk about a clock. And most people have digital clocks now. In fact, not many people even wear watches these days. They use a smartwatch, which has the numbers on it, or they'll use some other method, digital. But there are very few people who have clocks in their homes that have the hands, the minute hand and the second hand. I still have one in my house, in my office. I have one that I put up. It's kind of the shape of a steering, of a stern. I guess that you call it in the boat, the thing that you, we would call it a steering wheel, but I know that's not what you call it in a boat. But anyway, it's shaped like that. But it has the hands on that, the minute hand, the second hand. And back when I was growing up, you had the 12, the 1, the 2, and to go all the way back up to the 12 again. And we learned to tell time by the 5, 10, 15 minutes. That's how we were taught to read the clock. Where am I going? On the clock, you have 12 numbers, and then you may have little tick marks in between. But those numbers each represent a portion of the day. And I know you have 24 hours in the day, so it starts all over. But just imagine that the first half of your life, or the first half of your day, let's say that your day is equivalent to a life. The first half of your life, you didn't get things exactly the way that you wanted them to turn out. You made some mistakes, some bad choices, formed some relationships that did not produce the way that you want to do. At 12 o'clock, noon, you get to start all over with those numbers again. And so what I'm encouraging you to do is to now, if you're in the first half of your life or the last half of your life, and it doesn't really matter where, I'm encouraging you to put the faces, the memories on your clock, so that every time you look at that clock, that what you see is something that reminds you of your greatness, reminds you of your value, reminds you of the things that that you want to celebrate. Maybe it's your spouse, okay? And you don't literally have to put the face of your spouse on the clock, but just say that if you have 12 things that are of value to you, then on the first one you can put a picture of a goal that you've accomplished. Maybe it was graduating college, maybe it was getting that job. The second one, maybe, and I'll give a shout out to a good friend of mine. I call her a mentor, coach for me, but she was the one who introduced me to vision boards. But create the pictures of how you want your life. Give yourself an image of what you want your life to look like. Look at it futuristically. Okay, but going back, so put a picture of something that you've accomplished in the 2 spot. Okay, in the 3 spot, it may be a child. 4 may be a parent or friendship, and you kind of get the picture. But on your clock, put pictures of memories, things that you celebrate, things that you enjoy, things that will give you the strength, the fortitude to endure, even when the tough times come. Because I promise you, if you keep saying good morning, tough times are going to come. I put a post on Facebook this morning, and people would often ask me, say, John, how are you doing? And if I'm having a good day or a bad day, and I'll just call it like that. Sometimes I have days that are more enjoyable than others. Okay, it is not uncommon for me to respond, well, I'm doing well. It could be better, but it could be a whole lot worse. And that's true. The lives that we live, if you keep saying good morning, if you're having a good day, it could be worse. If you're having a bad day, it could be better. But be grateful that you are here today and that you do have an opportunity to, at this moment, to change the trajectory of your life. You have that option. We're talking about pursuing wisdom. Take advantage of the things that are within your control. Choose to smile. Choose to be happy. Choose to love. And I'm going to read a little bit about what I wrote years ago. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But those are things that are within your control. So what I'm saying is paint the faces on the clock that create the memories that when you look at that clock and you see the time moving on that clock, those memories are going to refresh you. They're going to revive you, invigorate you. Okay, you get to choose where you focus your thoughts, where you focus your minds, where you put your treasures. Those are within our control. So a couple of years ago, I wrote this statement, and it was a blog, and it's paint the faces on your clock. Paint the face on your clock. This statement applies to every person who has lived long enough to celebrate their first birthday. The time will come for some, or has already come for others, when you will have reached a point where you have only 1 year left to live. As morbid as it sounds, the reality of that is true. For the person older than 1 year who died yesterday, there's a point exactly 1 year ago when the timer began ticking down. But the person who dies a year from now, the timer actually begins ticking down today. Accepting this to be true possibly leaves us with an uncomfortable feeling of helplessness. Has my countdown already begun? Am I within my year now? If it's not already begun, when will it start? The humbling reality is that for most of us, We don't know, or we won't know, when the timer begins. I recently attended a funeral for a cousin who died at the age of 96. I once conducted the funeral service for a young man who was 2. I'm familiar with the story of a lady who was diagnosed with 6 months to live back in 1980. She lived until 2017. I was just recently informed of a person who died at the age of 23. When confronted with the information I'm presenting, there are a myriad of responses one could take, any of which would be appropriate depending on the circumstances. I understand that to presume to know enough to recommend a course of action for one to take exercises an enormous amount of boldness on my part, but I'm willing to take that chance. Here's what I've come to understand about time. Some can spend it, others will invest it, still others will waste it. Some may even try to save some of it, or many try to manage it, but none can stop it, and none can get it back. So what do we do to maximize it? I'm not sure who the original author was of this quote, but I heard it and remembered it from the movie Hitch. Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. We can live our life full of regrets for the mistakes we made or for the opportunities missed, but the outcomes remain unchanged. Decide to live life intentionally. Consider our choices. Make good decisions. Love with abandon. Be kind regardless. Forgive. Smile. Laugh out loud. Sing out loud. You say, well, John, I can't sing. Sing out loud. Dance. John, I don't have rhythm. Dance. Hug tightly. Kiss passionately. And I know you say, well, John, we're in the COVID right now. Hug tightly. Kiss passionately. Create the kind of memories that will make you smile now, and when you recall them, you smile again and again. Paint the face of your clock with moments that capture your attention. That way, when you notice that the timer is ticking down, instead of being afraid, you get more excited. Hey guys, this is the S.T.R.I.V.E session. Strategies to remain informed, strategies to remain victorious, strategies to remain empowered. We're talking about pursuing wisdom. Live your life intentionally. Okay, we're all going to go. We're all going to go. And there is no best way to die. If you died from a heart attack, or if you died from some abuse, or robbery, or an accident, you're still dead. Okay, how you die is most times out of your control, but how you live is fully within your control. Don't live with regrets. Live your life in a way that pleases you, that pleases the ones around you, that pleases your maker. And hopefully, ultimately, what we're looking for is a well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. Now enter into the rest that I prepared for you. All right? Hey guys, you all be blessed. This is the S.T.R.I.V.E session, strategies to remain informed, strategies to remain victorious, strategies to remain empowered. Don't forget to check out Pastor Mingo on tomorrow, Thursdays at 7:30. And we look forward to seeing you all hopefully next week. All right, be blessed.